Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today we're going to talk about something interesting with the Xbox Series S. So, I've had this Xbox Series S exclusively now for just over 3 weeks. I have tried this on my 4K OLED TV as well as the 1440p monitor. So, there's a question that really needs to be answered as to how well Xbox Series S upscales to a 4K screen. So, I've put out a couple videos already, kind of going over the 1440p monitor or the 1080p monitor or 1080p TV to kind of give you a general sense of what is the ultimate best optimized way to get the most out of your Xbox Series S. So, if you found yourself this Christmas with an Xbox Series S, don't worry. Don't worry about it. We're going to go over some things and we're going to help you understand the best way to be able to use that. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It definitely helps out the channel. And we will be covering Xbox Series S a lot more extensively on this channel going forward. Maybe not every day, but we're definitely going to be doing that. I have been playing it basically exclusively now for the last couple of weeks. Really trying to get a feel for this console and what it does. And I assure you, I have bought every third party or AAA game from the beginning of this generation all the way up to now. So I have an extensive catalog of games that I can go back and look at, see how they're performing. I have been doing multiple videos of these games running on the Xbox Series S. So most of that content has been running on my 1440p monitor that I bought specifically to test and run these games on the Series S. My personal opinion on that is the closer you can get to native resolution, the better it is going to be for you. But a lot of people have 4K TVs. They want to know, how does this thing upscale? How good is it at being able to produce a convincing 4K image? So 1440p is not that hard of a stretch from 1440p to 4K. It generally looks just a little bit softer. It usually does upscale pretty well. You don't get a whole bunch of just blur. Well, it doesn't blur as much from 1440p. Now, when you get to lower resolution games, you're going to have games that are going to be open world. They're going to be poorly optimized games at first when they first launch, maybe. There's a few of them. I mean, you've got games like, and if they are running at the higher resolution, like the 1440p, some of them might actually be like a 30 frames per second. I have seen some games like that. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is running at 1440p at 30 frames a second. That one actually upscales pretty well on your 4K screen. It actually, in my honest opinion, it kind of looks a little bit better than the 4K, well, the other version, running on Xbox Series X, because the picture's not as clear. It kind of just works out to be in where it looks a little better. Whereas on the 4K image of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, running on the 4K TV, you can see, like, in the distance that there's no texture, there's nothing. It just looks like, I wouldn't say plastic, but it just looks, you can tell it's just a flat color out there in the distance. Whereas the Series S at 1440p kind of covers that up a little bit, and it actually looks pretty decent. It actually kind of works with some games. Games like your sports games, Madden, FIFA, any of those types of games are generally going to look pretty decent on your monitor or on your 4K TV, because you're not having to push so much, and you'll be able to get like a pretty decent image on a lot of those types of games. Racing games are another one that are going to usually upscale pretty well. Your biggest games that might not really be able to do much are gonna be those bigger open world games. So I have to give props to Ubisoft. they have hit the nail on the head with this 14 with Series S. Most of their games are hitting this console at 1440p 30 frames a second or 1440p 60 frames a second. Far Cry 6 runs at 1440p 60 frames a second, and it looks great doing it. Riders Republic, another one, running at a decent resolution at 60 frames a second. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has two modes. You have 1440p at 30 frames a second, or you have, I believe it is 1440p dynamic with 60 frames a second, and it does pretty good. It looks really good. And then you also have Watch Dogs Legion, which is doing really freaking good on this console. You get the 1440p with ray tracing at 30 frames a second, as well as the higher resolution 1440p at 60 frames a second, and it holds pretty well. It doesn't deviate too much from that. Like I've done some pretty decent extensive testing on this Xbox Series S, and I'm telling you, the ultimate best results that you're going to get from this console is going to be on a 1440p monitor. That's 2K. The system pushes 2K. So, I mean, that's a native. That's what you kind of want to shoot for, is native. Now, you're probably going to want to play this on a big TV. Like, you're going to want to. And for the most part, that's going to be fine. Like, it's going to hold up really well. It holds up pretty good on every game I've tried on this. Battlefield 2042. That was the biggest one, the most disappointing one that I've seen on that. At the 1080p, like it just doesn't hold up as well. But this is coming after playing like the other game, you know, the one that's actual 4K on Series X. For some reason, Battlefield 2042 just doesn't seem to want to upscale as well as some of the other games. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or it's a terrible image. Like, you can still see what you're doing. It has like that. It has like a fuzzy look because the visuals are already like a checkerboard or something like that. Checkerboard games do not upscale that well. Anything native is easier to upscale. It's not blurry. It doesn't have like a fuzzy look to it. So it looks better. The image quality looks a lot cleaner when it's being upscaled. In my experience, stuff that's checkerboard just does not upscale that well. So there's other games that are running amazing on this Xbox Series S, and I think you should take a look at them. Resident Evil Village, you're getting 1440p at 60 frames a second. If you turn the ray tracing on, you're going to get a way more unstable. It's not way more. It is generally a more unstable frame rate. But if you have VRR on your TV, it might solve that, except for when it's dipping, kind of low. So for the most part, this console's holding up really well. It's doing a really good job. The upscaling in this console is freaking phenomenal. It looks good most of the time, and that's what I was saying. Checkerboard rendered games, or they tend to fall apart a little bit more around the edges than anything that's native or anything that looks good, that's got a dynamic resolution. Those games usually upscale pretty well. They usually do pretty good because they'll usually be at like a native resolution, and then they'll kind of just go up and down from there. So for the most part, everything that I've played to date on this Series S has looked pretty dang good on my 4K TV. And that's from with me sitting this close to it. Like, I can touch my TV from sitting right here. That's pretty nitpicky if you ask me. Like, being this close to a 4K TV, you can literally almost see the individual pixels this close as I sit to the TV. But I also see a lot more detail as well. If you back up, if you're like maybe 5-6 feet away from it, you're going to generally get a pretty decent image quality no matter what. Even on Battlefield. The farther back you sit from the TV, like 5 to 6 feet, generally that's pretty good. So, but for the most part, most games are holding up really well. Riders Republic holds up really well. All of the Ubisoft games hold up really well on this screen, on the 4K screen. They look pretty good. They are doing They're definitely. I see. A lot of people would say they're punching above their weight, but I mean, we saw the PlayStation 4 Pro doing 4K checkerboard on a lot of stuff. Okay, we did. These games are far higher fidelity, so they already look better. Even at 1080p, higher fidelity looks better. You get a fuller picture. It does look better. When it comes to a lot of these games, I don't necessarily. I do feel like the Series S could definitely GPU wise push a higher pixels. But due to the fact, that it's got the 8, the 10 gigs of memory or whatever, that kind of limits, how much, VRAM that they can put into that to increase those pixels. The more pixels they have to put out to the screen to like 4K, the more it has to load into memory. The more assets have to be loaded into memory, the bigger the memory needs to be. So right now, until they start using the actual velocity architecture, the stuff that will be able to load direct storage APIs and all of that stuff, you might be stuck with, like lower resolution type stuff. But for the most part, when these games get to next gen, they're going to look good. When I first played Matrix Awakens on that Series S, I played it on my 4K TV. I was still genuinely impressed with the way that Unreal Engine 5 is running on that Series S on that. When I put that on the 1440p monitor, it looked even better. The upscaling in Unreal Engine 5 is going to give you a better looking image regardless. And the fact that the Series S is more than capable of running next gen game engines, that's all you really need to know. This is a solid next gen console, and we will be covering Xbox Series S more frequently on this channel, along with Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 when we get some games for that. So yeah, if you woke up the other day on Christmas and you had an Xbox Series S, you got a nice system. It doesn't matter what other people are saying. If that's what you got, that's what you got. Does it hit the performance targets? Yes, it does. It does on every game I've tried so far. I've tried over 50 games that I own right now, and it has hit or exceeded the targets. If they were games that were running at unlocked frame rates, they're hitting their 60 frames a second. They're definitely doing a lot better, and that's backward compatible games. You got so many games that got FPS boost. There's some games, honestly. I got Monster Energy Supercross 3. It just recently got FPS boost, so it'll run in 60 frames a second. On the 4K TV, it looks really grainy. It looks really just really low because it was a low resolution, like 900p or 1000p or whatever. But I put it on this 1440p monitor, and that game looks freaking amazing. And it runs at 60 frames a second now. So there's a lot of good things that come out of this Series S. The price to value that you receive for this console, especially when it comes to backward compatible games, is freaking phenomenal. Phenomenal. So you also now have, with your Game Pass subscription, you have the ability to just start playing a game right there on the spot, and you will get a native 1080p at 60 frames a second with that, as well as Dolby Vision support or HDR support. This console's phenomenal. You're getting a lot of stuff, a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to the Series S. This would definitely hold you over. I do still recommend this being on a 1440p screen, so you can get the best image quality possible. Like sharp lines, beautiful everything. 4K on a lot of games really do hold up really well. The upscaling is really good. It really does hold up pretty dang good. Like I said, stuff that's checkerboard rendered, those things kind of fall apart a little bit, so sit a little bit farther away. And they should look okay for you. You should be okay with that. Most gamers usually sit 6 feet away from their TV. So I mean, at 6 feet, you're generally okay. A monitor, you can definitely get closer, and clearly I like to sit right next to my TV. I don't know why, I just do. So if you like this content and you thought this was helpful or whatever, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Definitely help me grow so that I can continue to cover this stuff and bring you this information as often as possible. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.